The first time. Do you really want to know this? The first time was with this guy, a couple of years above me. I was 15. It was Christmas time, the one before last. Anyway. We used to have this thing called Battle of the Bands at Chatsbourne. Yeah, I know. And when I was in the first year, this 5th year, Patrick Durrell, his name was, had gone up and sung Roxanne, you know, unplugged, just a boy and his acoustic guitar. And we thought it was really daring because red lights and all, in front of the teachers too. So cheesy. But at the time, there was this amazing hush, like we were in the presence of this teller of tales about prostitutes. So 3 years later, we're doing Battle of the Bands ourselves, playing our covers no one recognises, everyone's shrugging away in time with the beat. And word gets out that he's in the audience. So we finish our 3 songs. Good night, Chatsbourne Secondary, you've been amazing! And at the party afterwards, there he is, chatting away with the headmaster over a glass of mulled wine, because he's one of those weirdos who's always coming back to school at holidays. A success story, Chatsbourne at its best. Anyway, he sort of tracks me down. Nice gig, he says. Shame it was all covers, you should really write your own songs. And a little bit of me thinks, piss off, he didn't write Roxanne. But even so, I've been fantasising about this boy for years. And he looks at me and he says, I think you'd write great songs. So I say, what makes you think I write great songs? And he says, you just look like you've got something to say. And of course, I should have just barged out the fire exit right away, but I was younger then. And he's telling me about university, Manchester, of course. About how amazing it is, about how wild and mad, and how he'll have to watch himself next term, what with all the clubbing and ecstasy he's been doing. And yeah, he does look a bit ragged, to be honest, a bit spotty. But still, it's Patrick Durrell. I mean, I've written his name on my exercise books in 3-dimension. So the party ends at 9:30, which just so happens is when Patrick Durrell comes alive. He's got a hip flask at a school concert. God, what a dick. And he makes a big deal of pouring vodka into my orange San Pellegrino. Now it's called a screwdriver, he says, which I know is not strictly accurate, but I let it go. Do you want to come home? He says. My parents are in, but we've got a granny annex. Well, I'm only human. Can the rest of the band come? I say. No, I can't have too many people back, he says. You don't want to wake Granny, I say. She just died, he says. That's why I've got access to the annex. So it swings and roundabouts, I say. And he looks all offended. But he says, you coming or not? So I go and find my mum and dad and tell them I'm staying at Sarah's. And we meet in the car park and go to the Granny Annex, self-contained, very nice. And that is where I lost my virginity. 17th of December, 1995. How was it? What, the Granny Annex? Oh, the experience. Well, it was an experience. There was this little living area, which is really floral and frumpy, and it still had her knickknacks on the TV, and he'd sort of tried to club it up with candles like a chill-out lounge, but with doilies and little figurines of clowns, and photos of Granny Durrell staring me out. So we had some more screwdrivers, and he yammered on about his mates in Manchester, people I'd never met and would never meet, all in this slightly nasal, mad-for accent, which annoyed me because I knew for a fact he was born in Billingshurst. His guitar was in the corner, and without stopping talking, he reached for it and started picking away little melodies, like he was accompanying his own monologue. And then he started singing. Yeah. That cheesy Van Gogh song, Starry, Starry Night, or Vincent or whatever. And I thought, this is a bit weird, because he was really going for it. You know, eyes screwed up tight. You can't do anything. You can't get up and have a wee or anything. You just have to sort of sit there. And it suddenly seemed like a very, very long song. And I thought, at the end, do I clap? What if he does American Pie? So I clapped, but just a little. And he said, you do know that that song is about Vincent van Gogh? And I said, really? Is that why I cut his ear off? And he laughed, but he was a bit offended. We still kissed though, and I reminded myself, it's Patrick Dorrell. So we kissed for a while, and I thought, he's still that boy, isn't he? The one I used to really, really love. So I just sort of went for it. And then our tops were off, and then the rest. And then we were on his dead granny's bed. He asked me, how old are you? Which generally speaking should never be a part of foreplay, you know, established that way beforehand. And I said 15, and I don't know what he thought about that because we still did it. So it was painful in every sense. At least it was short. Yeah, I told him I was a virgin. And he said, I'll never forget. He said, that's okay, I'll put a towel down. Which again, wasn't the ideal response, but still. Anyway, people always say it's disappointing. But he went really thoughtful afterwards, and I thought, this is the melancholy thing men are supposed to get. So I said, what's up? And he said, and it was quite beautiful really, he said, you do realise that technically that was statutory rape. An idiot, I told him that I wasn't going to go to the police and don't let it spoil Christmas and can you drive me home or at least put me in a taxi? And he looked really put out by that, but he called the cab and offered me £5 and I said, how dare you? I'm not your Roxanne. And he looked confused and said, no, for the minicab. And I said, yes, I know, I was joking, never mind, I've got money. So I waited outside till it came. I thought, why am I making all these jokes? Why am I making him feel better? Anyway, I cried all the way home and I never saw him again. Oh. Sometimes I wish I had gone to the police, not because I was 15, but just to report him for being a selfish shit. Or his singing or something. I mean, he's ruined Van Gogh for me now. Not to mention Don McLean.